tune-up, service call, and more.
Well, I'll talk about the U.S. Open this week, and you look at the leaderboard, guys, and I'll just be honest with you, I only know like one name myself. It's Roy's, tied for third, but you go down the list, and you have a lack of big names on that. When you have that, we all know what happens to the ratings. It just doesn't get watched. We talk about, the Tiger deal and the like or dislike of him and what he brings to the table with these events and stuff, man, and just people just doesn't watch it as much without some of these big hitters. And we've got the LIV that's reared its head. We've had a lot of the big names. I think Dustin Johnson's one of the guys that's went. Sergio's went. Phil's went. These are some of your bigger staple names. Some of these guys are playing this tournament, and I'm sure, like Terry, we talked about in the break right there, that the PGA is happy that they did not make the cut in some of this. So,
it's been a distraction.
I hear from both sides because I don't know that much about it to criticize whether they're right for doing what they're doing or not right for doing what they're doing. And why PGA suspended them, I do not know. But, when you think of what's happening here, I question, when you come down to your final 12 and we're talking about the PGA's the final event, will that keep you out so you do not make your final 12? And you're talking about watching golf. I'm one of those because if I look at it and I see Justin Thomas, some of them at the front,
I agree.
Then I'm going to pay attention to what's happening if Tiger Woods is in it, etc. But if none of them guys, like a Larwin or some of them guys that I do not even know are up in it, I'm not even going to pay it any attention.
Yep, I agree.
That's just me, and I guess I'm not like a avid golfer that would pay that much attention to it, so I guess that would pull me away.
So they gotta find a way to market these guys to get them some exposure where people want to watch it. And the second thing this brings up with this LIV this popped up, and a lot of people might not remember this. I know you guys would, but when the USFL came in with the NFL, and you had some very big names in the USFL, and then you had your NFL, and it was two different leagues. Both of them did pretty well. The USFL, as we know, didn't make it, but you had your Herschel Walkers, I think Steve Young's a couple. I think Steve Young. I know Herschel Walker was in it. A couple other, Jim Kelly, I believe, was in the USFL. So it'll be interesting to pull some of the big names over there, see what they're going to do. I know it is a lessened schedule for the LIV, 3 rounds instead of 4 rounds, and we know they're paying some good money for those guys.
Yeah,
so.
$4 or $5 million more per player to come and play. But, and I'm also, like we was talking about, when you think of it, the NFL cannot be even counterpart by anybody. I don't care what they throw out there, what type of football they try to put out there against it, because I'm watching this USFL that's playing right now, and there's nobody there.
Yeah.
I mean, if they have 2,000 fans in this 30,000 fan place, you're lucky, because when it shows sidelines, I see a dot, a dot, a dot. That's what I see. I don't see people in the stands, and I'm wondering how long this league will last. Yeah, money's going to carry it for a while, a year or two, but after a while, you're not going to be able to play all them players unless your sponsors are paying most of it.
As long as it's not really done to make money. As long, I think it's mainly, football needs a minor league. I mean, it works in baseball. Hockey's got it. Basketball's got the G League. Why doesn't football have something? And I guess,
speaking of the G League, now I have seen more of that on television, but now I'm going to be honest with me. When I flip it over and I see it, I click it. I might watch 2 minutes, but I'll never watch a game all the way through.
Now you watch, in those you're watching individual players. And I think if the USFL wanted to survive, that's kind of the way it's got to survive, as like a springboard for guys to get back into the NFL. And I think that would make it more interesting. Now, whether it will make it or not, I'm not sure. I know my mom likes it because she remembers back in the 80s, she liked the New Jersey Generals because Brian Sipe, who was the quarterback for the Browns, went to the New Jersey Generals. You remember they had Herschel Walker. They were able to sign away some stars.
Jim Kelly.
Yeah, Jim Kelly was the Houston Gamblers, I think.
And I guess if you think about it, it's like Robin Cano's down in, he's been put down into the
AAA.
Now, I guess if he was here at Charlotte,
Yes,
there'd be more people come and watch him.
Like Tim Tebow.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You know, because he's playing. He's been in major leagues. We're going to go watch him play. But if it's not somebody to that stature and that name that we have seen in the majors that really produced in the majors and got bumped back down, we're not going to go down there.
So we went to a laugh about this, but U.S. Open's got a senior tour and they got the PGA tour. I guess the LIV is the in-betweeners tour.
No,
most of these guys are coming up.
I think it's really going to be a challenge. And I was just reading a little bit here. All the majors, like the Masters, is an invitation only tournament, for example. Yeah. So the PGA couldn't ban you from the Masters. But what they're saying is things like the President's Cup. All right, we're going to ban you from that. I don't think the guys care.
No, because a lot of them don't want to play in it.
I don't think they care because they're making more money to play less golf. They're making more money to play 3. And, for the PGA's perspective, they're basically saying you're not going to be entitled to the rights and benefits of being a PGA Tour member if you're going to compete with this rival. And a lot of people will say, I'm sure if you did more, it's like, okay, you're taking money from the Saudis, which would be frowned upon because of their not so great human rights record and their not so great treatment of women and other things that the Saudis have been criticized for. And, they just happen to kill journalists who speak bad about them, things like that, so I could understand the shady Saudis. You're taking their money. That makes you look bad. But in the end, what did we talk about earlier? Blood is thicker than water. Money's thicker than blood. I mean, I don't think.
And we've had this issue come up even with the NBA and China. I mean, it ain't like something that we haven't seen before. So,
well, there's something too. If you don't think it's making a difference, the U.S. Open's $5 million more were added to that to pay. So if you don't think the LIV and the PGA and all this stuff is making a difference, then why all of a sudden did we up the U.S. Open $5 million more?
We all know this. Competition is never a bad thing.
It can be. I
Well,
disagree.
I could see
because competition has a destructive element, and it's just this is where like people get mad when you talk about competition is always good.
Yep.
Well, it is for the most part, yes, because if I open up a business and you open up a business, I have to make a better product for a lower price to beat you out. That's like the basics of competition. But also there's a dishonest element to it because that also encourages cheating, dishonesty, cutting corners. I mean, that's just a fact. Why did the meat processing plants grind up the rats with the meat? Well, it's cheaper and we can make more money and we can beat out our competition if we don't, take extra safety precautions. So, I mean, it's for the most part, it is good and everybody's going to tell you it's good, but good with an asterisk because nothing's 100% good, Terry. Not even you on a baseball field. It's not 100% good. There's gonna be a drawback somewhere to it. So I think, I mean, just like you talk about the USFL. Well, that helped NFL players get more money.
It did.
When Herschel Walker and all these folks were getting his money. Yes, that was the good of it. But it's never going to be 100% good because there's always going to be that little destructive element to it, the encouragement of cheating, dishonesty. Well, I'm taking money from people who are a little bit shady, but that's okay, even though it's good that the PGA is now going to pay more because maybe the guys are worth more, So, it depends on – there's multiple perspectives on this. I guess I'm not in that situation, but if somebody said, hey, you want to go work for the Saudi? There's a Saudi-based school that's paying its teachers $100,000 a year. Would I go teach at that school? I'd like to say, no, I'm not taking their money. No, I'm not like that. No, they kill journalists. They they just now let women get driver's license, something like that, So it's like they don't have the best record, but it's kind of funny. People say one thing, they say one thing, but once the money's in front of them, they kind of don't do what they said earlier, So I guess that's my take on that.
Yep. So, well, we look at the leaderboard. I had it pulled up a minute ago. The only one, like I said, that I'd recognized was
Rory
McIlroy. Thank you.
And he had
Terry.
one heck of a shot yesterday when he got in the rough. I don't know whether y'all saw that, but he was deep in the rough, and the first time he swung, he missed it and couldn't get it out. Then when he did get it out, he ended up with a double bogey, but everybody thought that was great from where he ended up being.
You know, when I watch golf, I watch the last 4 holes on Sunday if it's competitive. And that's the fun part. You know, the last 4 or 5 holes.
Once you get hooked, though, I'm the
Awesome.
world's worst because I remember a few years back, there was somebody and they went to like a 6 or 7 hole playoff. And I watched every bit of it. I watched like the last from like 15 on. And I think that ended up taking like about 3 hours.
Yeah.
To watch that. But, you know, once you got hooked, then it's kind of hard to turn away because you're always flipping back to it just to see who won.
Well, they shooting, you know, 5 under's the leader right now. There's two guys tied for the lead, and they're shooting in the 67, 68s. You know, they always let the grass grow a little bit longer at the U.S. Opens. It's supposed to be in immaculate condition, hard scoring conditions. We know that Phil did not make the cut. I think he wound up being plus 11.
Yeah, he was way back.
It's where he was at. He's way down at the very, very bottom. The worst guy shot an 83 and an 81, so difficult course it looks like at the U.S. Open. So
that would be mine. That guy would beat me.
I'd have 164 on day one. So
yeah, I'm just interested to see how this works out long term. What's going to be the fate, you know, of this, and you know, as long I will say this: the Saudis' human rights record and some of the things they have done are not exactly
on the up and up,
yeah,
and that'll affect sponsorship a lot of times.
Oh, it will.
As long as they're a major energy producer, it's gonna. You know what I mean? You know, you can.
I mean, you know. I know we don't talk about, you know, professional wrestling in here or anything else like that, but they're a money maker, and they do a special wrestling event for the Saudis. I told you guys this before. They go over there, and those guys pay a lot of money. Stupid. You're right. Stupid money to get these guys over there.
It was news that you know, you brought up wrestling, so I'll just throw this at you. Vince McMahon has stepped aside and given it to his daughter. I don't know what. I've completely kind of lost track of it. I don't pay much attention to it anymore. But he stepped down because of a supposed affair with a paralegal who he wrote a check for $3 million
after he doubled her salary.
I mean,
while she was on staff.
You know, I mean, like, you're 74 years old and you're still doing this stuff. You know what I mean? It's like
she was 41.
It's like you're 74 years old and you're still doing this stuff. I mean, I don't, whatever. But he's stepping aside, and his daughter, I believe his name's Stephanie.
It is, and
45 years old, is taking over. I don't know what happened to Shane. I remember Shane McMahon was on there.
They do have some disagreements on how to run the.
Is Shane part of it anymore?
He kind of stays out because Stephanie and the husband Triple H was a wrestler. Their ideals on how to run stuff is a little bit different. So they kind of, from what I heard, they kind of have a little friction between those guys.
Yeah. So, well, sorry, Vince McMahon. It's stepping aside, and good luck, Stephanie McMahon.
So let's get us a commercial break, and then we'll come back and we'll do some MLB baseball. See, the Braves on their 14-game streak got knocked out last night. So